what are you doing?
So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You know I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. This education and politicians, no one's willing to step up and speak.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We are live, and we are coming to you from lifestyleradio.net. I'm your host, Al Graham. Tonight, as we have been for quite a while now, we are coming to you live from the front window here at Canada Days in Campbellford. And I should also let you know that everybody who walks by the store will be able to hear the program as we've stuck a speaker outside. Don't want them to miss anything, right? So, and if you're in the area, hey, stop in. We'll get you on the program. Ask a question or two. So tonight, my joint host is Alicia Yashcheshen, and she has a guest who is a patient and has proven what others say is impossible. But before we learn more about this person, I'm going to have a chat with Alicia. Alicia, how are you?
I'm great, Al. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Actually, not too bad today. I had a bit of, a bad day over the weekend, but life carries on, right?
For sure.
Yes. Just had somebody walk by the window, give us a big wave, just so you know.
Awesome. Wave back.
Yeah, I did wave back. I just they're not sharing their ice cream cone with me, that's all. Okay, in our news items, Alicia, I see the military here in Canada has cut back on the cannabis that they will allow our veterans to have access to. That it came in effect this past Monday. I know that they looked at it as trying to save some money, but what do you think this is going to be doing to some of these patients who are used to having 10 grams a day and then now being cut back to 3?
Well, it's going to have a significant impact on their health. And at the end of the day, these men and women have done a service for our country. The least we can do is pay for their marijuana. As a taxpayer, I want my tax dollars to fund marijuana for veterans. Yeah,
and you got to think, I know they spend, a lot of money on pharmaceutical drugs, but they got to be spending more than the $60 million that they spend on cannabis.
Well, and the thing is if the federal minister actually cared about vets, they would say that they weren't going to pay for pharmaceuticals anymore, because it's a well-known fact that pharmaceuticals actually aggravate symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, whereas cannabis actually heals it.
Yes, that's right. And well, I know that the military is actually going to be doing this report there a few weeks back about the military was going to do a study on PTSD with the veterans.
And that's awesome. I'm hopeful that we'll get some good research and some good empirical data to say, hey, look, cannabis does have a large positive impact. But I think that when it comes to dollars and cents and medication, the government shouldn't have the ability to put a price tag on someone's health. Yeah,
that's right. Because, this could end up with some serious consequences in such a dramatic change in the medication. And, they wouldn't do that with pharmaceutical drugs. All of a sudden tell them that, hey, you have to take a third of what you've been prescribed.
Well, and perhaps they do, but we just don't know about it. But I would rather them make cutbacks with pharmaceutical drugs than as opposed to cannabis, because we all know the harms that are associated with psychotropic drugs that they give to vets, right?
Right. That's right. Exactly. Okay, on to our second news article. And that was a recent poll that was done in the Globe and Mail newspaper, saying that Canadians want Ottawa to erase all the old marijuana convictions. So anybody with a criminal record for possession, it would be cleared from the system. It looks like 62% of the people agree.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you want to correct an injustice that has been occurring since 1923 in this country, this is what you do. This is how you not erase, but this is how you, I guess, benefit or provide a benefit to those years of incarcerations and deaths and et cetera because of prohibition. I'm 100% on board with this.
Almost twice as many people support the idea or somewhat support the idea of giving pardons to those people for just.
Do you know how it would change their lives if you pardoned all these people? Do you know how it would change our country? It would be phenomenal.
Yep, big time. So I'm just keep our fingers crossed that hopefully something happens, and whether they will move on that after the legalization legislation is passed before Parliament. Who knows? Well, I guess we'll find out at that point.
For sure. I'm really hopeful with this, and I hope that they do carry forward with it, for sure.
Yeah. Free a lot of people. Not only free the cannabis, but free the people as well, right?
Oh, for sure. And that's how you right an injustice. That's how you say, look, this is wrong.
Why should those people continue to be criminalized for something that's no longer criminal?
Exactly. When they shouldn't have been criminalized in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And that includes patients as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Anything medically related, it should be wiped right off the record.
Right off the record. Now, talking about legal and cannabis and medicine, maybe it's time to bring our guest in. Guests,
for
actually.
Sure.
Okay. It's time I'd like to welcome the person I described as a patient who has proven what others say is impossible. He is that would be Coltyn Turner, and he is joined by his mother, Wendy. Welcome to the Pace Radio Show, Coltyn and Wendy. How you doing?
Hey.
Good. How are you?
Doing all right. Hey, we're on the right side of the lawn. I can tell you that. Anyways. And you are actually you're in a different time zone than I am, and you're down in the Midwest. I'm assuming that you guys probably have some excellent weather down there.
Can you say that a little slower?
Okay, I assume because you're in the Midwest, down in the U.S. there, you're probably getting some pretty nice weather.
Oh my gosh, today was beautiful.
Oh, over the weekend we had temperatures that were like mid 50s, like brr.
Wow.
Yeah, we are 82 today.
You're 82, Alicia?
Yeah.
Oh no, that was Wendy.
Oh, that was Wendy. 82. Oh, gee, your voice sounds familiar to me. 82. Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen that. Let's hopefully it comes soon. Okay, Coltyn and Wendy, just to give you a bit of an idea. Usually I'll let Alicia get going with the questions. I'll jump in as we go along, and we'll see how things go. I'm sure everything will be fine.
Awesome. So we'd really like to welcome you to the show. One thing that the three of us have in common, myself, Coltyn, and Al, is that we all suffer from Crohn's disease. And so we can all three certainly identify with each other's stories of struggle. So I guess I would just like to start by asking Wendy, like, how did you get here? Like, take us back to day one, because we would really like to know your story from your perspective.
Can you say the last part of that again?
Oh, for sure. Just tell us from your perspective, from day one, how did you get to cannabis, and how did Crohn's impact your lives?
Okay. So we started cannabis because the westernized medicines wouldn't work, and we just started getting a lot of feedback. We researched some cannabis studies in Israel and saw that we had a study that a whole lot of people were in remission from smoking cannabis. And, we didn't have any choices or any options left because he'd taken all of the westernized medications that he could. So we had to do something, and they, we always knew that alternative medicines were good, but my grandma kept telling me, you need to go back to the earth. She's Native American, and she was just like, you need to do something that's more earthly and get back to natural medicine. And for 3 years, I didn't listen to her. And then finally, it kind of just like knocked me in the face and said, okay, we need to listen to Grandma and try to find some alternative medicine. And we found cannabis.
And so, does Grandma know about, like, when you found cannabis, or does she advocate for cannabis, or was that totally something that came along the path?
That just came along on the path. I don't think that my grandparents really cared what we took, as long as it was something that was more natural.
Okay. Okay. And so I guess in terms of the legalities of cannabis in your state, were you confronted with the law when you decided to make this choice to use cannabis?
Well, we actually live in Colorado, but we had to move from Illinois to Colorado to access cannabis as medicine. Illinois at the time when we moved was not a legal state, and now Illinois is a legal state. But it was after we had already moved that it became legal. So the only thing that we have to worry about really in legality issues is the federal government, because it is still federally illegal, and there's no protection for state rights at the moment. The federal government can still come in and shut all the marijuana programs down, which we hope that they don't, and they've pretty much kept their hands off. But that's the only thing that we have to worry about, really.
And so far, they've kept their hands off it. Fingers crossed, they stay off it completely. That's for sure. Before you found cannabis as an alternative medicine for Coltyn, what were some of the medications that he had been put on through his doctor?
Are you talking about other medications? It's really fuzzy.
Before you came across cannabis, I'm sure you were going to the doctor and getting pharmaceutical drugs.
Say that again.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, early on when Coltyn first got sick and you were going to the doctor probably would have put him on some pharmaceutical drugs.
Yeah, he's been on a lot of pharmaceuticals. So he started with Azicol, and then he went to Endicort and Remicade and prednisone and Imuran and methotrexate, and Humira was finally the last one. There were so many in between. But yeah, he did a lot of the pharmaceutical drugs, and then we absolutely had to stop them because the Humira was giving him really big lymph nodes and in his neck, and they're about the size of golf balls. And we thought that, well, and they said that he had precancerous cells, but they weren't architectural, so they weren't T-cell lymphoma. And then they thought that he had tuberculosis also. So all these pharmaceutical medications, even the Remicade, gave him lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. So that we were getting really bad side effects from all these pharmaceuticals. And that's why we had to find something different.
Yeah, I can understand. I was on Remicade for 10 years, and I had to get off of it. I ended up with skin cancer.
It's a horrible drug.
Yeah. Oh yes, for sure. So Coltyn has Coltyn been through any operations or anything, or is he operated or surgery free?
We have never had it surgery. Luckily, we've been able to avoid that. Not to say that the doctors were constantly talking to us about it, but we managed to avoid any serious surgery.
Good, great. That's what I like to hear. Because I'm in the same boat. I don't know about you, Alicia. I don't know whether you're surgery free or not, but I know here at my end, I've had Crohn's for 15 years. I'm surgery free and using cannabis.
Yeah, I'm surgery free too, and I'm a strong believer in surgery as your very last resort, like life or death. I don't advocate for surgery in any regard.
Yeah. I have an agreement with my doctor. Last option. So Coltyn, what I have found over the years from talking with patients with Crohn's disease is that we all can eat different foods. I have a friend that just loves pizza. She has Crohn's. I don't understand how she can eat pizza covered in cheese, but she can. I don't know. Is there certain foods that you always try to avoid?
We always try to avoid fructose, high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, because there's always some trigger. There's always something out there.
Yeah. Say that again.
I know, I usually try to avoid fried foods, greasy items.
Actually, no. They try to tell him to eat a lot of things that have really good fats and oils in them. So Kentucky Fried Chicken is like the best thing that he could have.
Oh.
He said, and it doesn't bother him. More vegetables and fruits bother Coltyn than fats.
Wow. Really? I'm the complete opposite. I can't have that KFC. I don't know about you, Alicia, but yeah. Myself, I'm on a pretty strict diet. I stick to chicken, turkey, and fish when it comes to meats.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't like fish. Yeah, and he has a strict diet, but then he has a diet that he doesn't like of food that he doesn't like. So it limits him pretty much. So he eats a lot of chicken. But he can eat pasta and he can eat tomato sauce and a lot of things that a lot of Crohn's patients can't have. But he can't have anything with chlorophyll in it, so he can't have broccoli or green beans. So any green, like lettuce or anything like that, he can't have it.
Ah, jeez. It's that's so much different than like I said earlier. Everybody seems to have a different diet, and it's, as they say, it's whatever works for you, whatever you can eat, just as long as you can eat, right?
As long as it doesn't hurt your belly, I say go for it.
That's right, exactly. I can't understand why, if you find something that bothers you, why keep shoving that down there? Sure, you might enjoy it at the top, but you ain't gonna enjoy it in the middle or in the end. So,
I say if you can have it and it doesn't bother you, then eat it.
Yeah.
If you enjoy it, then that's cool.
Yeah. Hey, Alicia, we got about 10 minutes.
I have a question about healthcare in the U.S. So in Canada, I spent a lot of time in the hospital, as I believe that Coltyn has. Like, who covers that? What's the situation with Medicare or healthcare in your state that you live in?
Say that again.
So is it very costly, your health care in the United States? I guess I'm just kind of wondering about the cost of health care there.
We're not understanding. There's like a lot of static, and we can't hardly understand anything that you guys are saying.
Oh, maybe we should just take a commercial break and try to connect again.
Yeah, I can hear you better, but I can't hear Alicia at all.
Can't. Well, we want to make sure we can hear Alicia, unless I got to repeat everything she says. and we don't want to do that, do we? What Alicia was asking was whether, as far as your Medicare, like here where I am in Ontario, we just go to the doctors, and it's covered by our Ontario Hospital Insurance Plan, which is paid through our taxes and that. When it comes to Coltyn and the coverage down there, she's wondering, is that something that you have to cover yourselves, or is there some Medicare or plan that helps you?
Okay, I understood that one. No, we do not have insurance that covers cannabis in the United States. So across the board, no one who uses medical marijuana is covered by their insurance. So it's all out of pocket.
What about your visits to the doctors and all the testing and stuff like that? Is that covered by Medicare?
He goes to a GI doctor, and his condition is covered by his insurance, but none of the cannabis medication is. So if he were to go back on Humira, it would be covered. But if he's continuing cannabis, he's not covered. But he hasn't been to the doctor. He does the well checkups like every 6 months, but he hasn't been in the hospital in almost 2.5 years.
Nice, very nice. Or 2 years. And the longer you can stay out of there, the better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's been several years for myself, so I've been lucky. Other than some testing that's been going on, because I had a flare up in October. Does Coltyn go through flare ups? Do you go through flare ups, Coltyn?
Say that again.
Does Coltyn go through flare ups where all of a sudden out of nowhere, even though he doesn't end up at the hospital, he has things don't go good.
He's only had one flare since he's been on cannabis.
Yeah.
And that was just because he had taken a trip back to our home state of Illinois, and we didn't take any of the medicine with us. And he ended up getting a flare and coming back, and it was, we had to fight it for about a month or so. And then since then, once we got back on his cannabis regimen and got it back in his system, and he was, back to saturated with cannabinoids, he was fine, and he hasn't been in the hospital since, and he hasn't had any flares. So
fantastic.
He's a normal kid. He's just 100% normal, and he doesn't have any issues at all, as long as he's taking his cannabis. Now, if we stop, then he goes back into a Crohn's kid and has definite flares and issues with his Crohn's.
Right. Now, does he, you mentioned cannabis regimen. Does that include CBD strains, or did you find certain specific strains or THC levels or what works for him?
Actually, he takes an isolate. So he only has CBD and THC in his cannabis medicine. And he takes 15 milligrams of each 4 times a day. But it doesn't have any. It's not a specific strain. It's just the molecules themselves.
Themselves, right? Yeah. Now, I'm assuming he's still in school.
He's homeschooled.
Oh, homeschooled. Oh, okay. All right. So I guess there's no problems with the principal then, right?
Well, sometimes there is. He doesn't clean his room.
Alicia, did you want to see if you can get a question in before the break time? See if Wendy can hear you.
So is homeschooling a choice, just a personal choice, or is that something that, because accommodation doesn't really help him to be at school, or is it just a personal choice to homeschool?
We've homeschooled all of our children, so it was just a personal choice. It had nothing to do with focus for us.
Nice. Okay.
Good. Yeah. Because I'm sure you could run into issues with the schooling. Whether the effect doesn't get them high or not, they just look at it as cannabis. Even though it's legal state-wise, I don't know whether your schools would run under any federal jurisdiction or not.
Well, we have Jack's Law in the state of Colorado, which is a policy that says that you can, the school has to create a policy to either allow or not allow cannabis in the school. So I just picked up Marley from school, and Marley is a Coltyn patient, and she is from Maryland. And how old are you, Marley? Marley's 11. And she moved here from Maryland to Colorado from Maryland, so she was another migrant searching for medicine with cannabis. And she's had issues with school, but it's just schools don't understand. They're trying to be better about it. This is their medicine. This is not something that's making them high and they're selling it to their friends or anything like that. But Marley's still just in 5th grade. She graduates Friday, but she's been doing fantastic on cannabis ever since she got to Colorado. Once we found the right medicine for her and the terpenes that she needed and things like that, she's been doing great. But it's been, it's a struggle. So she missed a lot of school this year. She missed 2 months of school. And, just because she was still in a really bad flare and she was, trying to find her right ratio for the cannabis. And, the schools didn't really care. I mean, it was really, nonchalant, like she was just being passed through. But it was more that she had Crohn's disease rather than she was using cannabis. So I think people that understand it and see it, they don't make a big deal out of it. So, here in Colorado, everybody's a little bit more open to the fact that kids are using cannabis more freely and having great results. So, it's something that we just really don't have to worry too much about.
That's good to hear, because up here in Ontario, for a patient, they have signing clinics where people can go if they can't get their doctor to sign. And a lot of them refuse to sign anybody under 25. Some cautiously do it between the ages of 19 and 25. And it's very rarely you ever find a clinic that'll do it for somebody who's under 19.
Right.
So what's doctors like in Colorado?
Say that again.
What are doctors like in Colorado in terms of prescribing cannabis?
The doctors that Coltyn and Marley go to, they're really awesome. So Coltyn, in the beginning, we had to prove to the doctor that it actually worked, or they were going to call CPS on us. But we did that. He was on cannabis for 7 months before we had gotten another colonoscopy. And once we got the colonoscopy, it showed that he had no active Crohn's disease. And
oh, good.
And so she was like on board. She was completely on board. So when Marley moved to Colorado, we sent her to the same exact doctor. And she's very, very supportive, and she's just been great. And Marley's like, she's a boss. She's been very, very supportive, and we've been very fortunate to have a doctor that is. Because in Illinois and in Maryland, where both states are cannabis friendly, the doctors are not friendly. So we're still stuck here in Colorado because when we go back to these states, back to Illinois or Marley back to Maryland, the doctors are going to be like, no, cannabis doesn't work. It's a fluke. This is just witch doctor medicine, and then they put you back on pharmaceuticals. So being here in Colorado with doctors that really understand, because it's been medical here since the year 2000. We've been very, very fortunate to have a really, really awesome doctor.
Very good. Very nice. It's good when you got the support of the doctor. Well, ladies, it's time for us to take a commercial break. Time to pay some bills. And then we'll be back in a few minutes. So just to let you know, our bumper music tonight, it features the music of K-Dube. And when I picked out this bumper music, it was because it matched the three of us. And as Alicia said, Coltyn, yourself, myself and Alicia, we've all got Crohn's disease, and we can understand where we're each coming from. So tonight I thought I'd pick out a song that connects us all together. And so we'll be hearing the song called I Got IBD. Then we return, we'll continue our talk with our guest, Coltyn Turner, and his mother, Wendy. And this is the Pace Radio Show on lifestyleradio.net and .ca.
Hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
It's up to the seas, is what's going on inside of me. Some of you got Crohn's, can Jesus got you see? Let me go and tell him, let me go ahead and speak.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
BMA offers cannabinoid testing, so if you want to prove you've got good medicine, head to BMA Hydroponics and prove it.
Man, have you been to Canadays yet? Canadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck, Crop King, and wholesaler Nexus. Canadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Canadays can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Canadays. Have your say without saying a word. Canadays.ca.
Hi, this is Al Graham of the Pace Radio Show. Are you keeping pace, as in keeping people advocating cannabis education? If you're not, and you're a cannabis consumer, then why not? Others are working hard every day to help educate people about cannabis so you can enjoy your daily 420. Get involved and speak out. Be loud and proud so that you can keep pace. Tune into the Pace Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear about people advocating cannabis education here on lifestyleradio.ca.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
The title is Colitis, other cats got Crohn's. Whichever way you work it, have you feeling so alone? But I'm here to tell you first, you ain't all by yourself. Cause almost 1 million people's guts yelling out for help. Some of y'all get mad, others start to cry. Frontline Archiata has us asking doctors why. It ain't the end of the world, cause it does get better than the fetal position curve. Ups and downs, they come and go, not always a diamond blow.
Hello, we're back. This is the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at lifestyleradio.net. You can also catch us live at, Showcast, as well as Spreaker Radio. Today on the program, we are joined by Wendy and Coltyn Turner, as well as my joint hosts, Alicia Yashcheshen. Alicia, I'm going to let you get the questions started again, and if we have any problems, I'll just repeat them for you.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
So I guess I was just wondering about how far is it from like your home state to Colorado that you've moved to access cannabis?
We had to move 14 hours. So we're near St. Louis and in Illinois, like near St. Louis, Missouri, but on the Illinois side. And it's a 14-hour drive, so about 900 miles from where we live to where we live now.
Wow. And is your plan to stay in Colorado then, or?
Yeah, we kind of have to because of the situation that we have with Coltyn's doctors. Even though cannabis is legal in the state of Illinois, his doctors again they're not so friendly. So we have to stay in Colorado, and not only that, but he's kind of a prisoner here because he can't take his medicine if we go anyplace else. So, like, we just did a TED Talk type thing with Greenflower Media, and they we were all the way in California, but Coltyn couldn't have medicine, so we can only stay for a couple of days. And then we went to Wabi in D.C., and Coltyn couldn't take his medicine, so we can't travel with it. So when we're in Colorado, he's fine, and he can use as much medicine as he needs. But when we are in any other state, he's an illegal patient, which is kind of nuts. So we can't take the medicine that we have and take it across state lines.
Really?
We're, like, stuck here. Yeah.
Oh,
what grows in Colorado stays in Colorado.
Yeah. Whereas our program is federal and it goes from coast to coast, so like we can travel across the country.
And I wish that the United States would do that, because we don't have it's state rights, and I'm all for state rights, but we need to do something in the United States that federally helps patients, because Coltyn, he's 17 years old, and he would love to go travel and do cool things. You know, he didn't get to go to Boy Scout camp because the Boy Scout troop that he was with here in Colorado decided to do a Boy Scout camp at the Yellowstone National Park, which is gorgeous and would be so fun and cool to go to with his Boy Scout troop. But he couldn't go because he would be there for a week without his medicine because Wyoming is not a legal state. So it makes life really difficult. We thank God every day that Colorado is beautiful and that Colorado is legal because, you know, we get to enjoy the mountains and we get to enjoy the plains. But we're locked here. We're stuck here because he can't travel outside of the state with his medicine.
Wow, you're almost like a prisoner in your own state.
Yeah, that's what he even says. He's like, I am a prisoner in the state of Colorado.
And so couldn't he access medicine in each state?
No, only in Nevada. So if we went from Colorado to Nevada, then Nevada, we can't take his medicine. Like, he can't take the medicine that he actually uses across the state line, but we can go to a dispensary in Nevada because they have reciprocity. So he could go to a dispensary in Nevada and get medicine, but not the kind that he takes regularly. So it's not like Vicodin. So if you were in the state of Colorado and you used Vicodin and you had to go to Nevada, you can get Vicodin. That's not the case with Coltyn's medicine. So because Coltyn's medicine is specifically formulated for him, then he's kind of stuck in the state because his medicine is not formulated exactly like that in any other state. He could get flour, or he could get edibles, or he could get other oils in Nevada and still be legal, but not any other state. So we can go from Colorado to Nevada, which is Nevada's beautiful.
That's it. Wow. Not much there to travel, is there, compared to up here in Canada, Alicia?
Oh yeah.
Well, and is that going to change though, or?
I hope. I mean, we're working on it. We actually, when we went to D.C., we talked to a lot of the legislators, that write the federal law, and we were like, listen, we're here without medicine. We're risking our son's life to show you guys that this is ridiculous, that this is uncalled for, that the Schedule 1 and the fear of this medicine is outrageous. And we wanted to make them understand that, this means a lot to us. And he would like to be able to go places that is not just Colorado. And he would like to be able to, go to Disney World, but he can't. And, we tried to emphasize the fact that, he can't travel out of the state with his medicine without repercussions, and that he was definitely risking his life to be there in D.C. because we were without medicine. And a lot of them listen, but I've noticed that trying to get something done in the United States is like pulling wisdom teeth with dental floss. It's just so slow and ridiculous. So maybe I was reading an article the other day about legalization here in the States, and they said maybe in 2024. I'm like, 2024? My kid's going to be 24 years old. That's wrong. So he's going to be stuck in the state of Colorado, and if he wants to leave the state, he has to risk his life for, all those years. It's just stupid.
Well, yeah, he's looking down the road, job opportunities and everything. All that would be affected.
Oh, yeah.
Or college and university.
So Coltyn doesn't even have a driver's license in the state of Colorado because we've had his nanogram levels checked, and he's at a 35 nanogram. In the state of Colorado, the legal limit for nanograms is 5. So
Yeah,
he is
that's what's
7
gonna be here,
times the amount illegal. And so if he were to get his driver's license and get into a car accident, even if it wasn't his fault, and they decided to check his blood levels for THC, he would get a DUI. So risking a DUI at 16 years old was a little crazy. So we were like, no, we'll drive you wherever you want to go. You're stuck here in Colorado, so, you're not going to go very many places. So he doesn't even have a driver's license. Something that a 16-year-old kid, that is a milestone in their lives. That is something that they look forward to, and that was taken away from him because of this federal legalization stuff.
Do you know what? Do you know if there's been any court challenges on that 5 nanograms for them for the state government to show that 5 nanograms that a person is impaired? Because that's basically what our federal government here in Canada is going to do in the legislation is 5 nanograms. And we don't know of anything up here.
Yeah, Colorado, we have had legislation and talk about the nanogram levels in the state of Colorado. But because it is Schedule 1 still here in the States, and because that means it is still illegal to research and test, they can't completely decide that at 35 nanograms that Coltyn is not impaired. But the problem with that also is that, Coltyn at 35 nanograms is not impaired. There are other people out there that are 200 nanograms, and they are not impaired. But there are some people that can take it, 10 nanograms, and they are impaired. So that's one of the situations that we have to deal with is the DUI situation. And because the United States is so split, even though legalization is definitely on the cusp of people understanding it a little bit more, the DUI situation, when you have Mothers Against Drunk Drivers and SMART and SAM and all of these drug rehabilitation places and fighting against us, and also the pharmaceutical companies, we're not going to get very far with this nanogram level because it is an individual situation.
Oh, most definitely. Alicia?
So that is law then, the nanograms, that's how they police high driving, is that correct?
Right.
Well, how do they test that down there? How do they test for that down there? They pull you over, and how do they determine whether you've consumed any cannabis?
Well, there's no test. It is I smell marijuana. You seem impaired, and I'm going to arrest you. And then we're going to do a blood test to see how much cannabis you have in your system. Well, we all know that cannabis stays in your system for at least 28 days, if not more. And so he could be at 35 nanograms of the first of the month, and at the 25th of the month, he's still going to be at 35 nanograms. That's possible. So even the blood tests and the aren't really that accurate for impairment. So it's such a hard situation because we just don't know what to do without legal testing and legal research. We're just kind of sitting ducks, and we are at the mercy of whatever police officer decides to pull us over.
Oh, wow. Coltyn, your mom was talking about 16 years old and wanting to be able to drive. What, as far as yourself, what effect has that had on you? Is it something that you're disappointed in, and that you're right there with your mother fighting for this right?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to be able to drive. I love to drive go-karts and four-wheelers, but that's all. I mean, that's all I'm really able to drive, and it's something that I've always wanted to be able to do, and now I've missed out on that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be able to get that back until, allowed to actually get my driver's license.
Yeah, I can see that that being a pain as you go along. Mom, I need a ride to so and so, and yeah. It's unfortunate and too bad. I'm sure that
in the in the United States, at least it is. It's having your driver's license is your rite of passage, and it's your first step into adulthood. It's your first step into independence and responsibility. And even though there are other things that he has done in his life, especially through this cannabis journey, that has made him responsible and independent, it's not like it's not like every other kid out there who is getting their driver's license and they're taking their picture at 16 years old by the DMV sign and on their 16th birthday, and it's so different, and it's just so unfair because Coltyn is absolutely not impaired, and that's not fair.
Yeah, could you just imagine if he wanted to take his girlfriend to the drive-in?
Say that again.
You could just imagine if Coltyn wanted to take his girlfriend to the drive-in. He couldn't drive her there.
He can't drive anything.
Yeah, exactly. Does that affect all motor vehicles, such as boats as well? Boats or anything like that?
Well, there's certain licenses that you have to have for boats and things like that. We've never. But the only thing that he can drive is like a four-wheeler or a go-kart.
Just something that's off-road.
Tractor. But he can't drive a tractor on the road. He can drive, and those things have to be driven on private property. So he can't go from his house to his friend's house and and drive alone. I have to go. I have to take him. So I mean, it's kind of a weird situation altogether.
Yeah, I know, and you got to make the best of it. I can completely understand 35 nanograms. There's no way we want to see Coltyn in jail for a DUI. That's for sure. Alicia, we got about 6 minutes left till we go to a commercial break.
Okay. So I guess in terms of the driving, it's unfortunate, but it kind of makes Coltyn unique in that way. Hey, it sets him apart from his other friends and stuff. That the substance that keeps him alive also precludes him from driving. It's kind of bittersweet, hey.
Well, he has a chauffeur.
Yeah,
there's not many 17-year-old kids that can say that he has a chauffeur. Because I have to, his dad or I have to drive him everywhere he goes. So we drive him, drop him off, pick him up. He doesn't have to worry about it. So it's like having his own personal driver. So I guess you can look at it
and
like
that's
that.
awesome.
And it's kind of
Any siblings drive?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Does any of his siblings drive?
Yeah, his older sister and his older brother both drive, so they have to take him around too. So it's it's a pain in the butt for them because they're like, I have my driver's license, and it was it was nice to be able to get my independence, and Coltyn doesn't have his driver's license, and he's old enough to, and he should be able to. So now I have to take him everywhere, but it's like that, even we have another child that's younger than Coltyn, and they don't like driving her to dance class either. So, but, if they were going to dance class or if they were going to their friend's house, then they're like, oh, I want to drive. But taking Coltyn is, it cramps their style a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. It's too bad. It's too bad. But I'm sure that if you're really stuck, they'll take them.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah.
They have no choice. They kind of complain about it a little bit, but it's like, in the scheme of things, they understand, and they have been all of our children with Coltyn's situation. Once, even when he just got diagnosed with Crohn's, and we weren't using cannabis, have been just remarkably understanding and just very supportive, and it's been a great testament to how their love for their brother.
Yep. Oh yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, Tommy and I are very, very blessed to have really beautiful, awesome kids.
That's great.
So where do you see yourselves in 5 years? Like, where's the path taking you?
You could answer that. Where's the path taking you in 5 years?
I honestly don't know. I might be more into politics a little bit regarding the laws regarding cannabis. But I mean, I'm also really into the cannabis industry, so I might drive that way too, or a little bit of both. But I know that there's going to be a lot of either one in my future.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. Spread the word. Let everybody know the truth.
Right. I think he's either going to be a politician or he's going to be a green politician is what he calls it. Or somebody, that is definitely in the industry. But also, he's so funny, and I would love to see him as a comedian. And just, not have to live a life of medicine 24/7. I would like to see him get out and, spread his wings a little bit and be an individual, and not something that, not somebody that politics and cannabis defines. Even though they're good.
So do you feel? Go ahead.
I said even though they're good definitions.
That's awesome. So do you feel like you're winning the war on Crohn's disease then?
Yeah, I take advocating for Crohn's disease to heart. I have met many patients that have Crohn's disease. I've seen what it does to them, and I don't want them to go through what I went through. I want people to know there's a alternative option other than all of these horrible pharmaceutical medications that have these awful side effects. I want them to be able to treat their Crohn's disease naturally with cannabis.
When you were diagnosed, Coltyn, with Crohn's disease, what was the first thing that you thought when you were given that piece of information?
Well, it wasn't really I have Crohn's disease, because we didn't even know what it was. So when the doctors approached us and said, you have Crohn's disease, you're like, what's that? We were very confused. So they explained it to us, and we weren't really like, oh man, how are we going to do this? We were more like, that actually explains a lot. Because at the time, I was very small. I didn't have a whole lot of energy. I was in the bathroom a lot. I had all of these symptoms, and we just thought it was natural. So we were just like, finally an explanation.
Yeah, and his dad and I, we were a little more devastated than him because he didn't understand. He was 11, and he didn't understand what Crohn's disease was, or that it was incurable, and that he was going to go through a lot of pain if we didn't treat it right. So we kind of looked at each other and said, these are the cards that we were dealt, and it's time to play the game, and we're going to win this game. And and that's kind of how the attitude that we've taken, from day one. It was never, oh my God, my son has Crohn's disease, feel sorry for me. It was like, S Crohn's disease, we're winning this battle. Bring it on.
Bring it on. Exactly. Well, you two are doing, well, actually, your whole family's doing a great job fighting. That's fantastic. But it's time for us to go to another commercial. We got time. We got to go for another commercial break. And tonight, our bumper music features K-Dube and his song, I Got IBD. Then when we return, we'll continue our conversation with Coltyn and Wendy Turner. And you're listening to the Pace Radio Show here at lifestyleradio.net and .ca.
Let me go and tell them, let me go ahead and speed. Now Crohn's and colitis, stay on the same side. Both cause inflammation all up in your intestines. Usually keeps it low in the colon, mainly home. Blown up from top to bottom, chances are you rocking Crohn's. But check it either way, you're now welcome to the game. IBD don't set you free, got some things you need to change. The gut's a crazy thing, start a journal of what you eat.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
The Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society is a registered nonprofit organization that advocates for access to cannabis as medicine. Political action in the courts at all levels of government established a federal medicinal cannabis program that is second to none. However, our work continues. If you are one of the millions of sick, disabled, or terminally ill people in Canada that does not have a doctor willing to offer medicinal cannabis as an alternative, we can help. We offer appointments every Monday for qualified patients across Canada who wish to access licensed physicians who will evaluate your condition and help you decide if medical cannabis is right for you. Call 613-967-9888 in Ontario or 250-581-1053 in British Columbia, or visit us at our website, www.canadiantherapeuticcannabispartners.com, or on Facebook at facebook.com/CTCP Society.
Man, have you been to Canadays yet? Canadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck, Crop King, and wholesaler Nexus. Canadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Canadays can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Canadays. Have your say without saying a word. Canadays.ca.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
BMA offers cannabinoid testing, so if you want to prove you've got good medicine, head to BMA Hydroponics and prove it.
You on the salami, lie out the acid come, all the names that you probably seen, chilling in the flat, probably hit you with that Brady pill, Sarah's for you up, hard to control how you really feel, move face wide awake, always hungry, hard to sleep, or some side effects do get you uninflamed, for those whose bodies break, gotta hit that rim of cake, I beat up in 2 months, help that gut get that saved. Now I know I've been going on this, but I gotta be real.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to the Pace Radio Show. We are broadcasted live right here at lifestyleradio.net. Or you can catch the podcast afterwards at Mixcloud, YouTube, iTunes, and iHeartRadio if you're in the U.S., not here in Canada, unfortunately. Tonight, our bumper music was featured the music of K. Doob, who is a Christian hip-hop artist and who has been diagnosed with colitis. He figured why not take it to the sound booth and create a song about what's going on the inside of himself, and that's what he's done. If you go to YouTube, look him up, you will see that the lyrics are there for the song, and you'll see lots of supporting comments. I'd also like to let you guys know that this weekend here at Lifestyle Radio that you can catch another 420 Roadshow live broadcast, as it will be live on location at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre in downtown Toronto. Once again, this location is hosting the Toronto Lift Expo, which is great because the location is very accessible for all people, wheelchairs or not. And while we're there, we'll be talking to patients. Many of the 100 plus vendors, plus the location once again will have a vapor lounge. So join the 420 Radio Road Show, consisting of some of the great hosts here at Lifestyle Radio, such as Al Rapp, Marcel Guinac, Ross Middleton, Chris Backer, as well as Kim Cooper and possibly Alicia. Right, Alicia? You might join us?
For sure, perhaps.
Perhaps, yeah, if you're not sleeping, right? Okay, everything gets started Saturday at 1 p.m. That's when I will be joined on the floor at the expo with my friend Aaron Butterfly Malakny, and you can catch that, like I said, Saturday at 1 p.m. and find out what's happening at the Left Expo. Tonight, we've got Coltyn and Wendy Turner, mother and son duo fighting Crohn's disease with cannabis, and my joint host is Alicia Yashcheshen. Well, everybody, we're down to the last segment of the show, and I'll get things going this time with the question on basically what you're doing sort of right now. And that's coming out publicly. Have you had any issues with coming out publicly, especially Coltyn at the beginning? Well, he's even a minor now, but still, back then he was just barely even a teenager.
Has he had any experience or any problems with what?
Any public as far as problems publicly? Any backlash from?
Problems? Yeah, we have had a lot of problems publicly. We've had a lot of people in the cannabis industry, that just want to, make money off of patient stories, and then we also have people that don't understand and shout religious, say no to drugs. We live in a neighborhood of people that are die-hard, say no to the drugs. So we are, needless to say, we are not the most appreciated family in the neighborhood. Also, back in Illinois, where we're from, we also have people saying that, I'm not here for a medicine, I'm just here to get high, and I'm just here to sell it, and which are all completely false. But that's the stuff you got to deal with.
But we've been very lucky. We haven't had near the problems that many other people do. We've had much more support than we've had negativity, and like Coltyn said, most of the negativity comes from people that want to attach themselves to Coltyn and use his story to make them money. We don't do this for money. Coltyn does not have a strain named after him, and he will not have a strain named after him. We don't do it like that. If somebody asks us for the formulation, we give them all the information that we have, and so they can make it themselves. This isn't about making money. This is about health. And I was watching my son deteriorate and die, and from a horrible disease that one small little plant helped. And I could never ever be, I could never sleep at night if I knew that there was another patient or another parent out there feeling the same way I did. And I had all this information, but I was going to charge you $150 to $200 for that information. You know, I understand that, you know, Coltyn can be branded and, you know, he can promote things and things like that. Or, you know, if they want to, you know, give us money to help us with the struggle of getting the advocacy situation out, then we're all for that. But, you know, when people attach to Coltyn and try to make money off of his story, then that's what we've mainly had to deal with. Other than that, I had our neighbor back in Illinois come up to my husband, and she's a Pentecostal. She's very, very religious. She's my dad's age, and they were really close friends in high school. And you know, they're just very, very conservative people. And she walked up to my husband while we were packing up our house 6 months after Coltyn started cannabis. And she was like, I tell everybody I know about you and what you've done and how you have helped your son. And I just wanted to tell you how proud I am. And that was like, you know, that for somebody to do something like that is just, it's worth every moment of struggle that we have gone through. And all of the naysayers, you know, because, you know, or you have somebody like Marley, who has heard Coltyn's story, and, you know, their whole family picked up and moved from Maryland to Colorado because of Coltyn. And now she is healthy, and she's on the swim team, and she's being a little girl. And that is the best thing that we could ever possibly do. So when it comes to the negativity, yeah, it kind of sucks. But we'll take the little amount of negativity that we've gotten for stories like Marley's.
Yeah. Marley's and that neighbor who come over in full support. That's fantastic. Alicia?
Oh, yeah. I noticed on your Facebook it says that you're the co-founder of the Healing Legacy Project. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Healing Legacy is just a little bit, it's kind of under the radar right now. We haven't been working too much with it. But one of my great friends here in Colorado, Amy Kale, and her husband, Matt Kale. Matt Kale is a veteran, and he is with Veterans for Natural Rights. He's a cannabis patient. And the Healing Legacy Project was formed to start doing fundraisers for people who need financial help with cannabis or with moving or with their organizations, like an organization that I'm involved with called the Cannabis Patients Alliance. Or, you know, we just wanted to start fundraising and helping these organizations get off their feet. And the Healing Legacy Project was formed through that to help. We just give and give and give.
That's awesome. And so also too, you're the chief executive officer at Coltyn here. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Coltyn's crew was formed.
Crew. Sorry.
When yeah, crew. Everybody says care, so we understand. The Coltyn crew was formed because we wanted to support Coltyn, and that's how it kind of began. When Coltyn was first diagnosed, we wanted to get to surround him with support, and we were financially burdened. So they were doing, the people that were involved with Coltyn's crew were doing fundraisers and raising money to help us pay for medical bills that, we were up to $187,000 in medical bills when Coltyn was on pharmaceutical medicines. But since using cannabis, Coltyn's crew has kind of shifted into an advocacy group. So when you are a member of Coltyn's crew, you can tell your story, and we give kids like Marley and other people that are involved in our organization opportunities to speak on the radio, or to go to a conference and tell their story. Or to go to the Capitol and testify for rights, for patient rights that are using cannabis. So it's more formed into a group of people that are all about cannabis and that want to support each other, and we try to push the advocating and give these people more of a platform, because it's not always about Coltyn. I understand that we have a responsibility and an obligation because Coltyn is so successful. And that's why we do these radio shows, and that's why we go to the TV and talk on media, social media, and things like that. But Coltyn's not alone. There are other kids out there and other adults out there that are using cannabis for Crohn's disease and for colitis. And, there are veterans like Matt and, people out there across the board that are using cannabis, and we try to bring them all together and put them in our crew and say, hey, we have an opportunity for you to speak at this place, or to go here and tell your story, because it's not just about Coltyn, it's about all of us.
Absolutely correct. That's for sure.
So we'll give you a whole list of people to call after this interview, and you can talk to them and get their stories too.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
And Coltyn, you're known well for your quote. The quote there: "I'd rather be legally alive than legally dead."
Yes.
Yeah, that's bang on, man. Bang on.
Thank you.
I see you've got to put on some shirts and stuff like that.
I kind of came up with the quote after I found out that I couldn't leave the state, and that I was treating myself with a substance that was federally illegal, and I was alive, but I would have been dead without it. So I'd rather be illegally alive than legally dead.
Oh, for sure, exactly. It's bang on. I really like that. That's a nice quote. Way to go, guy. Okay, Alicia, we've got time for probably a couple more questions, about another 5 minutes.
Okay. So I also saw on your Facebook that there was recently a relationship, perhaps sprouting, or I don't want to put words in your mouth, with Mary's Medicinals. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about that, or what's going on with that?
I can tell you a little bit about that.
Okay.
So Mary's Medicinals is a company here in Colorado that is a marijuana products company, and they have we use some of their products. Coltyn uses some of their products, but not like religiously. But it's just because Mary's Medicinals is such an amazing company, and they're in it for the right reasons, and they are supportive of patient rights, and so they just decided that they were going to support Coltyn's trip to DC, and they did. They were so awesome with Coltyn's trip to DC when we were trying to raise money. They helped us raise money. They're really supportive, and then they're doing this like little video series with John Forte. He was formerly of the Fugees. He's done a lot. He's a Grammy-nominated music artist. He is absolutely so cool and super fun. But he's doing a video series called Mary's Chimes, and Coltyn was asked to be part of that, and we were so honored to be part of Mary's, and promote the fact that Coltyn's not, the medicine that he uses is not through Mary's, but they are such a great organization and company that we would do anything for them, and they've been super supportive for us, and they have great products. I had a friend that came up to me the other day, and she's like, I just met her through my daughter's dance class, and she didn't know a lot about us, and I accidentally shared something to her page or to her messenger, and she's like, I'm so glad you did, and I thought that I was in trouble. And she's like, I have headaches, really bad migraines, and she's like, is there any kind of cannabis product that you would suggest? And I said, yeah, absolutely. There's Mary's Medicinals makes a gel, and I gave her a gel pen. She put it on her temples, and she said within minutes, that was gone. Her headache was gone. And they have patches, and they have this crazy protein drink, which is great for Crohn's disease. So we just got some the other day, and we're excited to start using it. It's a protein drink for gaining weight and gaining muscle, but it's cannabis based, and it's super cool. They're just a really great company, and we're just really blessed to have their support and their love, and and we support Mary's Medicinals 100%.
Nice. Exactly. It's always good when you can do that, because as you mentioned earlier in the interview, you didn't want to get involved with any businesses that were trying to make money off of Coltyn. So it's good to see that you found someone.
And they're not, and that's what's so great about them. They just love him, and I'm honored to, and we've had this relationship with them for quite a while. And they're always in the background, and we've never really posted anything on social media about our relationship with Mary's. And I was like, they do a lot for us. It is time for us to do something for them. And so it's very mutual, and it's just so beautiful, and the relationship is just fantastic. And I hope that their continued success for Mary's products, and that our relationship continues to stay strong.
I agree completely. Okay, Alicia, you got about a minute here if you want to try to squeeze in one last question. If not, we'll go to the shout out.
How you're received? Do a lot of people reach out to you?
Every day. Every day, I sit on my couch and I go through Facebook messages and emails, and I just cry because it's so heart-wrenching. There is not one day that has passed that at least one person hasn't reached out to us and said, "Can you help?" At least give advice. So my nights, when I'm at home before bed, kind of winding down, consists of talking to patients. We try to talk to every person that contacts us, and some of them have gotten past us, and when we apologize, but we try to make sure that we get to every person that's trying to get to us, and that we respond to them. And sometimes it takes us a couple of days because, like, if Coltyn, something happens in social media or on the TV, and Coltyn has, kind of got a burst of a notoriety, people, hearing his story, then we get, the most that I've had in one day was 27 Facebook messages of people asking us for favors and asking us advice. But every day, every single day, it's just heart-wrenching to see and hear these stories of people not getting access and the people suffering so bad when we know that there is something out there that can help, and they can't get it because they're in Alabama or they're in Montana and they can't, or they're in the UK or Australia. We've even had people contact us from South Africa, and we try to do our best to get back with everybody, because it's so important, and like I said earlier, I know how it feels to watch your child suffer, and I don't want anybody to go through what we went through.
No.
Mm.
No, exactly. That's,
and so how can folks help you?
I don't know. Buy a T-shirt. We sell little Coltyn's Crew T-shirts that say his quote on the back of them. We've never asked for donations. We don't ask for handouts. This is a journey that we were put on for a purpose, and so if you want to buy a T-shirt, you can buy a T-shirt. The best thing to do is actually go on my Facebook page or Coltyn's Crew Facebook page and buy one through the boosters that we do. We're having some trouble with our e-commerce on our website, so the best thing to do is do it through Booster. But I mean, I don't know. We don't ask for money. We feel like we're supposed to do this, and this is our calling. And but if somebody wanted to send us something, we have a P.O. box, and you can send us whatever you want. But this is what we do because our heart is in it, not because we're trying to make a ton of money on it. Does it help? Absolutely. We do most of this on our own dime. Going to DC, going to California, going to these conferences. We pay for all of that. But
Wendy, it's
I don't know. That's just so weird.
Yeah. Wendy,
so folks can support you by buying T-shirts, I guess, at the end. Like,
absolutely.
Is that how you like?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep. And
fantastic.
If you just
I
go
may
to
have to
our
look that
Facebook
up.
pages and go to the boosters on there, you can get a Coltyn's Crew shirt. And why we do that is it does make us a little bit of money, so we can actually keep continuing to advocate and continuing to go to these places and do our thing. But also, it raises awareness. So when people have that T-shirt on and it says, I'd rather be illegally alive than legally dead on the back of it, people ask about it. And then that starts a conversation that needs to be had. People need to start talking. And that is our main goal for those T-shirts, is to raise awareness. It's to start the conversation.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Those what I call T-shirts are like walking billboards, sandwich boards.
Absolutely.
And you educate people through T-shirts. Fantastic.
Yep. And that's what we try to do, because it does spark a conversation for sure.
Yeah, it does. Okay, we're getting to the end of the show here now, and I want to give you an opportunity to let people know where they can find you, where Coltyn's Crew website is, anything along that line, and any other shout-outs that you might want to throw there, including Coltyn.
Yeah. Well, I'll go first, and then I'll let Coltyn go. You
Okay.
can reach us at Coltyn's Crew. It's ColtynSCRUE on Facebook, and we have a www.coltynscrew.org. You can email us at coltynscrew@yahoo.com, and we'll try to get back with you as soon as possible. My shout-out definitely to Mary's Medicinals, to my daughter Kinsey, who's back in Illinois, to my son Skylar, to Riley Joe, who are my two other kids here in Colorado, and thank you so much for your support. Thanks to my husband for being there for us, especially today, since we're doing this crazy stuff while we're taking kids from school to dance class and all sorts of stuff. So those are my shout-outs. Here's Coltyn.
Yeah.
I'd like to give a shout-out to Marley, who was kind of listening in a little bit on this interview. I would like to real quick congratulate her again on her story. I'd like to have another shout-out to all my friends and family in Illinois that are still supporting me, and everyone around the world who is still supporting my story and sharing it with everyone.
Good. All right. Thank you. Alicia, have you got any shout-outs?
I would just like to thank Wendy and Coltyn for being on today. It's an awesome interview, and I appreciate your mission, and I wish you well, and nothing but health and happiness.
Thank you so much. Love and light to you all, and thank you so much for allowing us to be on your radio show. We feel like this is such a privilege to be able to spread awareness about cannabis, and hopefully we've reached someone that reaches out to either you or I, and we get them on a journey to wellness. So thank you for giving us that opportunity.
Hey, you're welcome. We really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your story. And I'm going to join Alicia and throw them a shout out to you two, because I can just imagine before Coltyn got sick that none of this was ever in your plans, that you weren't going to be a cannabis advocate. Life was going on, as most married couples with children, and then this happened, and you've stood up tall and making people proud for sure. Keep doing what you're doing.
All right. I will.
And Alicia too. Absolutely.
Yes, it's by people speaking out, and that's where the PACE is. PACE stands for People Advocating Cannabis Education, and it's getting people to go out there and share their stories and information and education, and it's something that's been successful, and people are sharing information. That's very important. So. Okay, I just want to remind everybody know that I'll be back next Wednesday with Joint Toast King Cooper and her guests. You can find the Pace Radio Show on Facebook. We're on Twitter at Pace Radio, plus we're on Instagram as Pace Radio Show, and we can also be found at our website at pace-online.ca. And if you go there, don't forget to fill out the comments there in order to win some free stuff. And thank yous go out to our sponsors, friendly folks at BMA Hydroponics, located in Belleville, Ontario, and at bmahydroponics.com. Big thank you to CC Nexus, who is probably Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler, and they can be found at ccnexus.global. Also, big thank you to Al Rapp at Lifestyle Radio. He's the man behind the baggie. And a big thank you to Coltyn and his mom coming on to the program, sharing Coltyn's story. It's one that shouldn't be missed. And check out his website. I was reading that this morning, and it brought back a lot of memories from what I had to deal with myself. So, and also, Alicia, thank you for finding a guest and being on the program tonight. Always enjoy having you on. So,
awesome, thank you.
Yeah, hey, you're welcome. And final big thank you goes to our listeners for tuning in the program. We really appreciate that. That includes everybody that walked past the Canada store here in Camelford. and looked around and went, "Oh, where's that? Where's that coming from?" So it's good to see people react. So thank you, everybody, and good night. We'll talk to you soon.
Good night.
Peace.
Good night.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
I'm trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.